Hi everyone, as most of you know, my name's Connor Smith. I want to welcome you all to the second installment of our Awty Student Athlete Spotlight. For this installment, I was able to sit down with senior Katia Petrosky from the lacrosse team. I had a lot of fun with this interview, and I'm really excited for all of you guys to see it. So with that being said, let's get into the interview.
My name's Katia, as Connor said. I'm in the 12th grade. I'm going to be going to UT next year, chemistry, and I play lacrosse. I normally play the midfield position for Awty's team, but I've also played attack and defense.
And how long have you been playing? Kind of what got you started and interested in playing the sport?
Yeah, so I started playing the sport maybe, I would say, 5th grade, and I played for Swizzle Sticks, which is just this club in Houston. And I kind of stopped just because I didn't find it to be that enjoyable at the time. And I distinctly remember when I was in 9th grade, I played volleyball and basketball, and I grew really close to my basketball teammates in 9th grade, and they said, you should join the lacrosse team with us. And so they kind of encouraged me to go back to the sport. And my sister had already been playing the sport pretty regularly, so I knew how to play, and I just picked it right back up. And I found it to be a lot more fun in high school with the more contact and the kind of team camaraderie that came with it.
And what's been your favorite memory with the team? You talked a bit about team camaraderie, so.
Yeah, so my favorite moment from all 4 years, because there's been a lot of memories, obviously, would have to be last year when we won our first conference game to beat Houston Christian. So it came down to like the last minute. I think we were tied 14-14, and one of my teammates and closest friends actually like stole a ball or had a really good defensive play, and we ran it down. I think my sister scored, so we won 15-14, and that was really fun. And that was right before COVID hit, so we were able to kind of celebrate that last success together.
And as a senior, what would you say to someone to encourage them if they're thinking about coming out for lacrosse at Awty?
Yeah, so I would say, like, don't be scared of, like, the stories that you hear. I know Coach Brittany will probably hate me for saying this. Just, you'll hear stories about the amount of conditioning and running that we do in practice, but I honestly think that's important because for the game of lacrosse, you have to be athletic, you have to know what you're doing, and all the girls that have tried out and everyone, you just have to be willing to do what has to be done, and everyone has always been willing to do that. And it's such a fun sport. I mean, if you've ever seen the game, it's really fun to just like chuck a ball into a goal or chuck it at someone else, and catching it in the stick. It's like there's no other feeling like it. Just the thrill of the game. So I would just say, like, just come out and enjoy it. Like, there's no harm in trying something new.
And speaking of Coach Brittany, do you have any good stories about her to tell everyone?
Yes, my favorite memory, again, like I've had her for 3 years now. There's been a lot of memories, but the one that she and I always seem to mention every year is our Friendswood game when I was in 10th grade. It wasn't even during the game. We were driving to the school, and there was some parade going on, and so the bus driver had to take a detour through this neighborhood, and she ended up doing this like 50-point turn and almost backed into a house. And I could just see Coach Brittany's face, like just like the fear in her face, and people were like screaming on the bus, and she claims that there's like a family inside the house, like their eyes were just wide open. So I just remember, and then we didn't win that game, but that was like the one thing that we just talk about from that day.
Yeah, it sounds like being on the lacrosse team is a lot of fun for anyone who wants to go and play.
It definitely is.
So we've kind of finished with the harder questions, I guess is what you could call them. And so we've been asking kind of everyone what your favorite sports movie is, and if you could tell us a bit about it and why you like it so much.
Yeah, so I don't really watch many sports movies, but what I was talking about with my dad actually is that we watched The Last Dance together, which is this docu-series about the 1998 Chicago Bulls Last Dance season with Michael Jordan. And I think it's maybe like a 10-part series, and it kind of goes through Michael Jordan's backstory as both like a college player and an NBA player, and his like personal life and how that affected his playing style. It also goes into how his teammates kind of influenced his playing style. And my dad had always kind of raved about Michael Jordan. Like, obviously we know he's this great NBA player, but I never really heard about like his story, his upbringing, and like what kind of influenced him to play basketball. And it was really interesting just to hear how inspiring he was to his teammates, and how like he played through, like when he had the flu, he played through literally every challenge that was thrown at him. Even when his like dad passed away, he still he took some time, then went right back to the sport he loved. And so that kind of encouraged me, and I know my dad has like said like it should encourage you to kind of have like a role model like Michael Jordan, because he fought through so many challenges and he became the greatest player like in NBA history. And so like if you can fight through all the challenges, like even in your own sport, like with me with lacrosse, if I can fight through the little like things that bother me, like even in a game, then like that would help the team just that much more. Yeah.
So thank you so much for your time. I know you probably have to go somewhere at this point, practice, or you're a senior, so you probably got to study for exams. So thanks for taking the time to talk to me. I'm sure everyone's going to enjoy getting to hear and learn more about you.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Right.